Today's topic is assault bike. Is it the best conditioning tool for coaches? Me and James are going to have a little discussion. Don't you dare just go, yes, end of episode. Let's talk specific. So we're a big fan of the rower, obviously treadmill, if you're a runner, etc. But we're starting to use the assault bike more and more for our clients and athletes. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's something that the assault bike is now becoming more widespread. It's more readily available. We always use the rower as a default go-to tool because it was more readily accessible, particularly in hotel gyms around the world and for other gyms and local gyms, stuff like that. But now it is becoming the air bike, what should we call it? Whether it's Rogue, the assault bike, or the air bike itself, it has become more readily accessible. Now, if you'd have asked me 2-3 years ago, would I use the assault bike? I'd say yes, I think it's a great tool, but I wouldn't always program for it because not many people had it. But now more people have it.
Yeah, that's the thing, just accessibility, isn't it? And also, just quickly, in case people don't know what the assault bike or the air bike is, it's a bike. Obviously, it's the one with the big fans on the front and the handles, so you pedal and use the arms at the same time, in case you weren't aware of what the assault bike is. Crack on, James.
Exactly, and it's the big machine of death. If you and for those who know, they literally know. So it's definitely something that we've always wanted to give more people as a tool to use, but they haven't had it readily available for them. But they do now. More people do have it now, and what we've seen in the last couple of years, we're getting better results from people who are using the assault bike as a conditioning piece for shorter pieces. This is not for, you can use it for 60 minutes plus if you want to, but I don't think that's the tool for it. Yeah, it's not the tool for that sort of stuff. There is a 60-minute assault bike test if you want to do that, but for shorter pieces, more aerobic speed type work, I think this is a great tool to use for people because A, there's no technique required. All you need to do is get the right height and away you go. There's no issues with lower back pain. I think that's a really important thing to talk about. A lot of older athletes and older clients have lower back issues, and sometimes it gets exacerbated by being on the rowing machine. For example, I can testament to that. That's me partly as well, but I've seen a lot of cricket players that we're working with have these issues recently.
Yeah, well, we are big fans of the rower as well, and it is a great tool for conditioning. But I think if you want to get the maximum amount of benefit from the piece of equipment that you're using, rowing does require decent technique to actually get the benefits as well, and it's hard to pick up that technique. I think for shorter athletes like me and you, it's even more difficult as well. So as a tool, accessibility, ease of use, especially for beginners, then I think if your gym has the assault bike, it is the go-to tool, and it's great for, as you say, maximum aerobic speed work. You can do high intensity. You can do zone 2, easy aerobic repeats, longer work. It's got many benefits, right? You've been doing maximum aerobic speed work on it. Talk about how that's been going for you. What have you found?
I will talk about this first, but I'll have you know I'm 6'5". Thank you very much. Just let's just clarify that point right now.
Yeah.
For everybody here.
There we go.
There we go. That's how we roll.
Okay.
No,
you're not as short as me, but you are still short.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. No, so okay, let's just talk about this in terms of development. I think the other thing we start to see with people is they start to become like quadzilla. Like that's the big thing, because just the pump they get on the legs and the quads as they're doing this is phenomenal. So I'd almost call it a strength endurance exercise too, and a strength builder, particularly if you're doing it at high enough intensities from what I've seen. So I think the question is, how do you use it? I'm using it a lot for maximum aerobic speed work because I'm gearing up towards the World Cup. It's wet, it's dark, it's rainy here in Cardiff most of the time. I can't do a lot of work on pitches outside because it's just too muddy. So a lot of my short intensity work has been on the assault bike for short bouts of 15, 30, even 60-second pieces in between resting. So I think the question we got to think about and help coaches is how do you use it? A lot of people just use it as that high intensity hit session at the end to give them that sweaty burn feeling, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was popularised by CrossFit WODs, wasn't it? Basically, that's where the assault bike gained its popularity. But it can do so much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing I think we try and think about. So the coaches out there, yes, use it as a sweaty burn end of workout thing for a bit of fun if you want to do that. But if you're talking program design and development and this robust aerobic system, I think Where the assault bike comes into its own is in terms of maximum aerobic speed work and anaerobic development when they're strong enough, because you have to be strong enough to be able to endure it enough. So yes, aerobic pieces, you can do it. You can do other stuff doing a long piece of aerobic stuff, but for the aerobic speed work and for the anaerobic stuff, I think it falls into a category of its own. Nothing gives you that feeling of sickness more than the assault bike, in my personal opinion, than any other tool that we know. Rower comes close, but not quite in the same category as assault bikes. And I keep going back to the Chicago Summit in 2016, where James Fitzgerald almost killed everybody, and he got them doing some aerobic and aelectic repeat tests, and that was phenomenal. So there we go. That's a good example of that right there.
You say it was disgusting. It was sick making. But as you say, I have also experienced that on the rower as well. If you go hard enough, but yeah, as a sort of a tool for for zone 2, for aerobic speed, for anaerobic work, I don't think you can really beat the assault bike. Definitely not. And again, as we say, ease of use, especially for beginners, it's easier on the joints. But also you've got to look. So that's for general fitness and aerobic conditioning, but of course you've got to consider what your goals are. If you need to row for some sort of event, or you like rowing, you've got to use the rower. If you are a runner, you need to run, etc., etc. So you've got to consider that as well. Anything you want to add to this, James, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think for the coaches is how you use it. So the most important thing I think we do with people is how we use it, and it comes down to the 10-minute assault bike test. That's what we're looking for. So to calculate their aerobic speed work, to calculate their calories and how many they should be hitting, we are doing the 10-minute assault bike test as a precursor for a lot of our clients that we're working with to know those stats and know those numbers. So that's really important to understand, is that we have to test first before we can start using it to its full capacity. And the 10-minute test is what we're looking for. How many calories in 10 minutes?
Yeah, you do need, if you're going to do maximum aerobic speed work, you do need specifics. You can't just jump on and do 15 seconds of work and go great. It's like, well, what was your goal? What were you aiming for? So yeah, you do have to do the 10-minute assault bike test. And I apologise to any of our clients listening who have made do the 10-minute assault bike test, because it's horrible, essentially, isn't it? But it is a necessary evil.
Yeah, absolutely is. But there you go. So that's our thoughts on it. If you haven't got one and you're a coach and trainer, get one. If you want to try it out, find a gym that's got one, and you'll see exactly what we mean by how powerful this thing is.
Indeed. You don't want to buy me one, do you, James? I'd love one.
No, not today.
Not in my,
Thank you.
I was expecting one in my Christmas bonus, no?
No, not at all. Not this year. I might get you a mini one for your stocking for next year. How about that?
Hey, thank you very much. That is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you want to find out more about our system of training, go to strengthmatters.com/system.